In this episode, we're going to get a bit granular and talk about what goes into running a successful Google Ads campaign. This one's a bit longer. We get a bit more into the weeds of setting up a campaign or what you needed to look out for. But if you're thinking about running Google Ads, this one is definitely for you. And if you want to hire me to run your marketing services, click the link down below and book a call. This is a new service that we're doing for detailers to actually grow their detailing business. I was tired of talking to detailers who are paying so much for other agencies and aren't getting actual results. So if you want to hire me for us to do your website, your local SEO, or your Google Ads, click the link down below, book a call, and then we'll chat to see if we're a good fit. Let's go ahead and get started with this episode. All right, so let's go ahead and kick off the second episode talking about Google Ads. Specifically here today will be how to actually run a Google Ads campaign. And again, joined with me is Cesar, my brother, and owner and operating manager of Symphony Advertising. So the last episode, if you want to go back to that one, it's for those listening, it was just all the bad things that we see, especially Cesar, since I'd say like 90% of your clients are Google Ads.
Big chunk.
Yeah.
Not 90, but like 75.
Okay, 75% is Google Ads. Yeah, so it was good hearing from him. So today we'll kind of go over, primarily Cesar, he has some notes here on like what's actually good. What's actually a good Google Ads campaign? What are the good practices? Because if you run if you have a good running optimized Google Ads campaign, that means you are getting more clicks. That leads to more leads. That could potentially lead to more customers. It means perhaps you are getting a lower cost per click, which means even with a smaller budget versus someone that has a bigger budget, you could be getting the same or if not more leads because you have a properly ran campaign. And the most simplest answer is like you're just not wasting money, right? Every dollar is being put to its best use to generate leads for your business. So Cesar will probably take the lead here on this one. So Cesar, of all the campaigns that you run, that you see, from you starting campaigns to you seeing new campaigns that clients come over saying, hey, here's our already existing campaign from this last provider, or we set it up internally with someone. What's a good campaign?
All right. Hello. So I keep doing this thing. Here we go. Where you gotta, where you gotta zoom out. Like, I think a lot of times we live in our bodies and we don't zoom out and understand that if you are a roofing company and a storm destroys all the roofs in your area, the Google Ads are going to work great. You know, okay. SEO is going to be great probably.
Yeah.
But Google Ads specifically, because there's so much demand due to a storm, this roofer, any roofer, is going to be killing it. And this happens too, where they'll credit the agency, whether it's us or another one, and say, well, when we were with that company, you know, we exploded on Google.
Right.
Okay, well, what happened? Well, there was some catastrophic storms or some event, and it doesn't have to be roofing. It could be anything.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, it's stupid hot in Houston right now.
Yeah.
I want to get ceramic tint on my car.
Yeah, right. Correct.
Not because I want it per se, because it's really freaking hot.
Yeah.
It's driving me to find a provider to give me ceramic tint. I looked that up.
Yeah.
I'm going to get quotes.
Yeah.
Not because I want to.
Yeah.
It's freaking hot. So my point is, before we even dive into like what makes a good Google Ads campaign technically, it's also like, okay, well, does it lend itself to that? Like, are you in an area? Do you have a business that provides a service that people want?
Yeah.
Not that you need to create demand for, but that there is demand for.
Yeah.
So I would say Google Ads in general is better for that. It's not about, that's why Facebook and Instagram and TikTok, those are good for creating awareness.
Yeah.
Because you're saying something. This is what I do. This is what is new. This is my product. That's why product is good for that. When it comes to Google Ads, it's like, I need a roof replacement.
Yeah.
Like, I just need somebody to do that
yeah.
for me. So super high overview picture is like, okay, is your service, local service, something that people are looking for?
Yeah.
So that would be number one. If that is in demand, then perfect.
Yeah.
Let's try and get you more leads because of that.
Yeah. And let me say, for most detailers, it's in demand. Yeah. Like there's
Yes.
and now, and then depending on where you are, your city, the range of demand will change, right? But yeah, for detailer, yeah, for the most part, any popular service business, it's gonna be in demand.
That's why they're great.
Yeah,
Because they're service based. Like,
Yeah.
it's nothing new or innovative or fancy.
but it's always a need.
Like, dude, you
Yeah.
gotta get stuff fixed.
Yeah.
Things break. Weather happens.
Yeah, and that's for anything anything from like your plumbers, your HVAC, and all that, all the way to mechanics and barbers and peg. Like there's always dogs to be groomed. There's always heads to be cut. There's always cars to be cleaned. But yeah, going back to like if you're in a city of 10,000, that search volume and potential demand
Yeah.
is much different than a city of 5 million.
Side tangent though. Even on that is like, there might be 10,000 people, but there's probably volume down. The scale of providers is lower too.
Yeah.
So like maybe there's one auto detailer per 2,000
Yeah,
people.
yeah,
Whereas
for
in
sure.
Houston, there's going to be
Yeah.
one every street.
Yeah. Like
So-
the ratio might be 1 to
Yeah.
10, but in the ratio to Houston would be for every 10 or 10,000 people, there's 6
Right.
detailers, right? So
Yeah.
the level of competition is also much higher, which goes back to the same like location. Like yeah,
and it's not to discourage people from like,
No.
if there's too many or not enough.
Yeah,
People
and-
need the service.
in both ways, it's like it still makes sense to do it and to still like because like yeah, if in both situations like hey, I'm in this really small town with only 10,000 people, there's only a few little detailers. Like, is this worth it? It's like yeah, like capitalize on that. And it's like you go to like hey, I'm in this town with like 1 million people. There's so many detailers. It's still worth it. Yeah, still
Yeah.
do it. Like it's the same for
Yeah.
both cases.
If you want an excuse, you'll find one.
Yeah, for
If you
sure,
want an
for
excuse,
sure.
oh, there's too many providers already. Or,
Yeah, for
oh,
sure.
There's not enough people in my town.
And the thing real quick that kind of grinds the gears a little bit is like when they're like, oh well, there's too many big established detailers, and you hear this in any industry like there's how do I compete against a big like detailer? It's like bro, there's ain't no one in your area that's too big for another one detailer to come by in, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, and it's like maybe they're all organic SEO, whatever, that they've been in business for the last 20 years, 10 years, whatever. And it's like, yeah, if you spend a little $500 a month, you'll start getting leads. You'll start getting customers. You'll start like, you know, like that's as simple as you can put it. Okay. Anyways, let's continue.
Yes. Okay. So with that being said, from the Google Ads perspective, I have some notes. These aren't in any order, but I'm going to list them out, talk about them one by one and go from there. So number one, simple. So if I go into a Google Ads campaign and it's a little bit, if it's overly complicated, I think that is not good, especially for local service-based businesses, detailers. It's what we do or what those companies do is pretty straightforward. Like, again, it's not innovative. We don't need to do some complicated thing.
yeah.
Oh, these ads run from 7 a.m. to 12 p.m. and then from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. with
yeah.
another set. We have one campaign with 7 ad groups, one for each service, but we're only spending $10 a day.
Yeah, it sounds cool. It sounds like, oh, look at this. I'm saying like, you want to make it sound like way more like, okay, so this is our strategy, you know? And then when you go into it, you're like, but is this too complex, bro? Like,
Yeah, I mean, I've seen
what's all this for,
I've
dude?
seen some crazy stuff. And I mean, it makes sense if it fits the size. So like, yeah, okay, if you're, a bigger budget, you have 10 trucks that are ready to go at any time. Maybe you want to do, in Houston example, Conroe, Woodlands, Houston, Maine, West Houston, like then it makes sense. Okay, you have 4 people in each location.
yeah.
You have to make it work for everybody. That makes sense. But if you're one person or one business that still needs leads in general, it's like, okay, how about the first step is let's get the phone ringing.
Yeah.
Let's get the forms coming in.
Yeah.
That's the first goal. Like, what are we trying to like? We're not trying to do anything mad. We just want more customers.
But yeah, starting off, it's like, yeah, do get the phone ringing.
Yeah, so keep it simple. And that actually, I mean, as you know, I'm sure, like, it's harder to be simple than it is to be. It's harder to write a 1-sentence summary than to allow yourself to do like a paragraph, multi-paragraph explaining. Like, it's hard. It's hard to do that. So I'm not saying it's easy, but if you can get it to be simple, that's better. Providing cause and form. So that's always a good metric. Like, that's the only way you know, okay, whatever the clicks, whatever the impressions, whatever the cost, are we getting phone calls? Are we getting
you're saying from the
submissions?
campaign, is it actually generating calls and and lead submission?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's always going to be like one of the main metrics.
Yeah, because the same way with SEO, when people are ask me like, hey, I've been doing SEO for this long or whatever, and it's like, but I'm still not ranked on the first page. which obviously like with search engine optimization is getting ranked higher in the search results. But then I do always ask like aside from that though, right? From when you started your SEO campaign, let's say 3 months ago to now, like have you seen an increase in clicks, calls, and form submissions? Because it's like someone in their head might say we're getting a little too ahead, but like I don't, my cost per clicks, I want them to be around like $3, and it's like, and it's like, okay, maybe they're $3.54, but then it's like that could almost be that depending how you look at it, that could be an arbitrage number or a vanity metric, or arbitrage number.
Vanity.
Yeah, both, because it's like you might be saying, oh, well, I'm not getting, the cost per click isn't under $3, but it's like, but your phone's ringing and like you have so many leads now, and it's like, are you capped? So yeah, go on. I'm sorry. Go continue.
No, that was literally going to be my next point. Like, if nothing else matters unless the phone is ringing, and it can take time to get there, and most of the time it does take time to get there. But to worry about, I want it to be under $1 click, or I want it to be. I mean, I've had crazy conversations like, oh yeah, we're getting conversions at $7, $7 a conversion, and you look at the account like, no,
yeah,
like what is this?
Yeah,
liars. And then the metrics can be set up wrong, where if somebody clicks, they look at the pictures on your Google profile, it can be counted as a conversion. If they just visit your site, it could be counted as a conversion. So there's many ways of like, I've said this before, like people say numbers don't lie. They definitely lie. Yeah. Like you can be looking at the wrong numbers and it's wrong. Like you're misled. So the best metric is if actually a human being in your area calls you and said, I made this one mistake one time for a dental client a while ago, where like I set up the campaign, it was a decent budget, a couple $100 a day. And, I set it up. Next day I came in, bunch of calls, bunch of form submissions. I was like, rockstar, doing it again. And then I got a message from them. They're like, hey, like none of them are from like here. I accidentally didn't put the location. So it was like all of the United States.
Oh, goodness.
And it was for dental implants. So, I mean, it was fixed within a day, but it was like.
Yeah, that day. So
that was me falling to it wasn't even, you can actually still get 10 conversions, all what you search, like what you do, and it's wrong because it's in the wrong area.
Yeah. So yeah, and it goes. How much was he spending a day? Like 200.
It was a couple hundred.
Yeah, but it's cool to see that because like that shows a difference between like what a local service does versus if you're like national. Let's say if you had like, it has for the most part it has to be a product, but like like the demand that you can tap into based on like the volume and all that, it's like if you go national, even in one day it's like flooded with calls, emails. But then when you go, if I'm assuming they're in Houston, it's like it's still there. But I'm saying like that's the big difference that people need to understand between like large volume, millions and millions of people versus like this town has 50,000 people. Yeah, big difference. Anyways, go on.
Yeah. So calls and forms again. That's like that's the real pulse of leads. Like, okay, are they calling? Yes. Are they good? Okay, great. That's another question. But are they at least calling? Yeah. Great. Quality customers happens to be the next bullet point here.
Yeah, but that's important to note as well, because it's like the same thing as I keep on referring to is like there's always steps in the funnel, right? So it's like first step is like, well, obviously there's many other first steps. Like let's get the campaign set up. Like it's like, oh, well, let me provide you all these images and videos and let me create the land. It's like, all right, yes, but okay, next step is let's just get it started first. Then it's like, all right, like we set up the campaign, whatever. It's like, okay, are we generating leads? And then from there it's like, okay, well now we can actually find, like now that we have, let's say 30 days of data, okay, well, like which keywords are not good, whatever, and then you can start fine-tuning that. And then you start getting leads, and then you're like, are these quality leads? And then which one? So it's like an ongoing, ever-changing, like it's just not a set it and forget it.
Yeah, and one to add to that, so we do websites, so between the website and the Google Ads going live, there's actually a step in between. So in this example, we're doing are they calling, and then is it a quality lead? But before that, once we set up a website, the next step you can expect is spam. Like usually people start getting spam when it's a new site because you're indexed, you're a target. It's super annoying, but it's very hard to fight off. So like whenever people start getting spam, I'm like, dude, that's good. That's expected. Like you didn't have a site, now you have a site. You're gonna get spam every now and then. It's just the way it is.
Yeah.
So that is part of now we're online. Anyways, so quality customers. This is a hard one because it's harder than it seems, because most people are going to want to have like ideal customers calling immediately. And I can speak, at least for me with my own business, is like I had an idea of what I wanted to price it and what I wanted to do, but the market was telling me something different. The market was telling me to price things differently, to offer a package solution instead of an a la carte solution. And so I reflected what the market wanted versus what I provided. And since then, it's been going great. Well, better than what it was. And I think sometimes with any business, you're kind of stuck in your ways. Like, no, I'm not going to do that because it's beneath me, or I'm not going to do anything for X amount of price, or that's something we don't offer. And some of that's true, but some of that is if people keep calling you for a certain service, is there a way you can make it work? Because what I think about is if you're spending $500, let's say a month, and you didn't get a single lead, but let's say you got you didn't close any deals, but let's just say 5 leads that wanted to work with you, but you didn't offer like that specific service. What can you do to make it worth to get a return? I get it. Like I always say, like if you have a line outside of your door, this is not your problem.
Yeah.
This is your problem if you're not converting on your ads. So that's kind of hard because what you might want your quality customer to be, you might have to reflect that with your services. You might have to change it. You might have to package it differently. You might have to have like an entry type of service available. Like maybe you do, I don't know for you, but for us, it could be like a free consult or a one-time consultation, which is the same thing, which is a free 3-month plan or something.
Yeah.
Just to get that moving forward, just so that they work with you, they understand you, and maybe in the future they can come back. That's like a long tail play. That's a very that's not transactional. Like you're trying to build brand, you're trying to build experience. So that's like way past just the Google ads converting.
Yeah.
That's like your business as a whole. Like how do we interact, and maybe not today, but in 3 months when they're ready and need ceramic tint or whatever it is, then they come back to us.
Yeah. Because now at the point of like, is it a quality customer? That's not totally dependent on the business itself. Of like, it can be if you know what you're doing, right? The follow-up game, how you communicate. Like, if someone sucks at explaining and like they don't have good communication skills, a quality customer to them would be like, I didn't have to do nothing. I didn't have to say nothing. Yeah. Like it just like they were just ready, right? Versus a quality customer to someone else might be like, oh, they weren't ready, but in 3 days I followed up, and then I followed up again in a month. That was a quality customer because to that business, like, well, I just follow up until they tell me a no or till they're ready. So it's like it's that one's totally dependent on like how quality of a business that you are to convert that customer to. Now, don't get me wrong, there's still obviously like those red flags of like,
absolutely
not a good customer.
Yes.
And when we say it's not a quality customer, like that usually means, well, they didn't buy it right now, so it wasn't a good customer. It's like that, that like if you think about it like that, it's like, well, that's not gonna work in your favor because a lot of people are still in the research phase, are still looking around, are planning to like legitimately do it just next month instead of right now.
Or also like maybe the price you gave them is a little steep. Like what options do you have aside that? Like do you communicate that? Like, I don't know, let's just say whatever they wanted, it's $1,000 and they're like, oh crap, $1,000, they don't want to do that. But you have like a $600 option. I don't know what the example is for you guys, but that is another way of doing it. Or if you have some kind of like, not financing options, but like a way where it's like, okay, you pay it over time or whatever.
Or like 25% up front to 75% once we complete the detail.
Maybe they schedule it. It's 3 weeks away. They can put it down in 3. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's something that has to be figured out for each and
and that's why it goes so back to the business part, because it's like like, oh well, you want to sell this $1,200 correction and coating, and they're like, oh, it's a bit too steep, and you're like, okay, well, buy. Versus like, okay, well, what are your options? What do you specifically are you looking for? What do you want done? Oh, well, I just really wanted to whatever, and then it's actually instead of a $1,200 service you're trying to sell, it's like, oh, you can actually just go to $450 service, and it's exactly what whatever. So yeah, that's why it's like, that's why it's hard to work with businesses there when you ask them like, how's the quality of the lead? Well, because you're like, it's out of your hands now, because it's like, well, you hear the call that that they're talking to the leads, and they're like, man, you pick up the phone all crappy, you're not talking to them. So again, same thing from last episode is what we're mentioning now, is that a part of running an effective Google Ads campaign has nothing to do with Google Ads. It's how you answer, it's how you talk, it's how you communicate, it's how you present, it's how you, like, so many other things beyond the actual Google Ads. But the Google Ads obviously facilitate that opportunity. So you're gonna go to the next point?
Okay, so then we have good cost per conversion. This gets a little bit more nerdy. So like a cost per conversion is how much does it cost for you to get the lead in this situation. So a conversion, if set up correctly, is to get a phone call and to get a form submission. What does it cost? So let's say you spend $500 and it costs you $100 per conversion. That means for every $100 you get, every $100 you spend, that's a new lead. Now, in your space, that's probably pretty bad because it's too high.
For the service that we offer, yes, correct.
In some other spaces, it'll be good. So it really depends. And you got to figure out like when is it worth it? So obviously if you offer a 250 service, let's say, and it costs you 300 to get that lead, not the best place to be.
Economics don't work out.
You're losing out. So in a better situation is if you spend 50 per conversion, it costs you $50 per conversion, and you were able to close at 250, then the spread is 200. So at least you're on the positive
main
side.
thing is like you want more of a gap, more of a margin between the two. Yeah. So real quick to touch on that is so if we're doing, let's say for instance we're offering just washes, right? So and let's say we're like our washes are like $25 for a wash, and we're trying to run ads, and it's like if the cost per conversion to get that customer, let's say customer, the cost of, let's just say, to keep it simple, the cost to get that customer was $25. Then it's like it's hard to make the economics work because it's like you're literally paying. It's basically just canceling out between what you're paying for that customer. Now, if you have like, let's say like a vinyl, let's say like vinyl or PPF or vinyl wrap, where it's like the price might range between like 800 to like 6,000, right? Let's say it's a $6,000 job, and you spend $300 to get one customer. You're like, that's fine because this was a $6,000 job. Versus you know, if you're trying to sell $25 car washes and each customer costs you $300, it's like just the economics do not work out in one bit.
And that's where the strategy matters. So like if you're selling, as an example, $25 car washes, then you're better off broadcasting that on Meta ads because you're going to show that to like way more people for way less.
Yeah.
And you might make it work there. On Google ads, it's pretty tough because you're going to spend $2-3 per click. I mean,
yeah, I'm trying to look at what are the highest cost per clicks.
I could tell you, I mean,
I was trying to, you know, when it has that,
like industries.
Yeah, like for instance, I'm on a random website. Oh, WordStream. Oh, WordStream's pretty credible.
Yeah. So lawyers in San Antonio, Houston.
Yeah,
those are
so like those. Yeah, those are. I'm trying to find the legal. Yeah. So this is something like, for instance, like even for dentists, right? Like a hygiene, like the routine hygiene cleaning, that's much lower than dental implants, right? Same business, but it's like the cost per like if you're trying to get dental implants, those can range to the tens of thousands of dollars depending on how severe or whatever. Mm-hmm. So it's like those are going to be way higher.
Or like $20-$30
or for
per click.
Accident attorneys, right? Those are
they will spend they will spend people's salaries on that.
Yeah, like
they'll make so much money on that.
Yeah, like they spend hundreds of dollars.
Per click?
Yeah.
Yeah, like $100, $90.
Yeah, $100 per click for an attorney. And that's crazy to hear because like for detailers, we're like $3 maybe, $5, but they're spending $100-ish, you know, more or less for just a click because the money is so the opportunity that is so high there.
But the scale is the same. Like they're also probably still depending on their budget, right? Like I've some that spend like 10 grand. That's not in the lawyer field.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like it's okay, you know.
Yeah.
And they'll get only a couple for that specific type of lead. They'll also get a couple.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it like scales. It's interesting how like it's just a different ratio.
Yeah, for sure. And that could still kind of be applied to everything because like it's still like Houston to some little town and wherever, like the economics are going to be different there as well. So it's not a one size fits all. Like maybe the strategies for the most part the same. How you set it up, it's like a big X factor is like, where are you? Like everything we just mentioned. Anyways, okay, so go on.
The next point is literally
in
the right location.
In the right location. Yeah.
So I mean it's super simple. Make sure your ads are coming up in the right location. There are many times, funny enough, that it's not in the right location. Bringing clicks from outside of your city or your state, just make sure that works. This one's pretty big. Good search terms. So if you know Google Ads, there are keywords that you bid for. So let's say auto detailer near me. That's the keyword. But then if you go to the search terms report, it'll tell you what that keyword brought in. So it might say auto detailer in Houston, most affordable auto detailing open now. Those keywords, those are the search terms that came in due to that keyword. What is bad is if it says auto detailing jobs, auto detailing classes, auto detailing
Products, yeah.
auto detailing products. Those are negative. You don't want those because that's not what you actually want. So looking at the search terms is actually more important than the keyword itself, although they work together, because you might have all the clicks for your keywords that look right, but if you look at the search terms, how much time we got?
Good.
Okay, so here's a good example. House, what are they called? Cleaning services, maid services. So we set them up, let them run. It's very standard type of keywords, but the type of search terms they brought in because people are creeps is like, naked maid cleaning services.
Oh, really?
Yeah, topless.
Really?
And there's a lot. Like
that,
I'm like, I can't stop them.
Yeah.
I would add them as negatives, and there's like all these variations for them. So like, only the search terms tell me that. If I look at the keyword list itself, we're getting a lot of house cleaning keywords. But when you look at the search terms, like, oh crap, like we don't want that.
Yeah.
So just to round that out, for them specifically, we switched from phrase match to exact match because we need more control.
Yeah.
They don't do that.
Yeah.
They don't do that at all.
Yeah.
So that's an example of the search terms really coming in clutch. So as long as those look good, and the question to ask is, would this bring me a new customer? That type of keyword.
Yeah.
The answer is no, then you should add it as a negative, or sometimes even remove the search keyword that is bringing it.
But it goes to the next point. Not too many negative keywords.
Not too many. That's what that means. Like,
Same thing.
Yeah, if you look at the search term report and it's mainly more things that you don't want, that's a bad case.
Okay.
Or if it turns out that you're adding way more negative keywords than there are good clicks, good keywords, then it's like, okay, this happens a lot when you use too general of a keyword. So for example, sometimes if you use just detailing, let's say as an example, as a phrase match keyword, yes, it's what you do, but it might be way too broad. Like it brings in too much of other stuff that you don't want.
Too general.
Like what is it? Detailing classes? Like
Yeah.
How to's? Is it for the person? Do they want to buy it? Do they want to do it for themselves? Okay. And then does CPC matter at this point? So that goes to our earlier conversation. Like cost per click, how much does it cost every time somebody clicks it? Like it matters, but you kind of have to play it. As long as you're getting leads from it, it's hard to argue with that.
Right.
If you're not getting leads from it, okay. The math has to work, but you can't get too stuck up on the numbers because it's easy to overanalyze.
Yeah,
ads.
for like again, if you set the benchmark to yourself, like I don't want to pay no more than $5 per lead, and it's like, well, we're paying $7. It's like for sure we are, but like your schedule's booked out, right? Or like your phone's ringing, and at that point it's like, well, what are you trying to argue here now? Because like, are you gonna sacrifice these leads, customers for the fact that you want to get it under a certain cost per lead, but it's like it's still working out for you. And then again, going back to like if you get that customer to come back one more time, it's like it's done for. Like
or if they refer somebody.
Yeah, it's like you just doubled what would have So that's why it's a little like you gotta
if you get a review from it.
Yeah, like you gotta honestly, you gotta look at it both logically and like not emotionally, but like
honestly, a lot of people say don't look at it emotionally. I think there is room for it. Obviously, don't make the full decision just emotionally. But the more I look at stuff, like especially with like finances and stuff, like how much feel like, oh, you shouldn't, upgrade this or that emotionally. But maybe sometimes, there's some truth to it.
There's some level to it. So that makes sense. Did you want to go over the other ones? Click-through rate is above 4%, and click share.
Yeah, click-through rate. That is how often someone sees your ad and then actually clicks it. If it's below 4%, let's say it's under 1%, then your copy, something's wrong with your copy. You have to update your copy so it matches the ad.
So the click-through rate is above 4%. So that basically means you want it.
So what that means is out of every 100 impressions, if the click-through rate is 4, that means 4 people clicked on that ad. And generally speaking, 4 to 8% is good. If you have it like at 10%, that's really good. 20%, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Under 4, it's like something's wrong with your copy.
Yeah, like you don't want to check something.
Yeah.
It could also be other things, right? Like as far as like the area that it's in, or just across the board. The biggest impact would be copy.
Yeah, that's the most correlated one. It is dependent with everything else. The location, the bid, the budget. It does depend on that, but click-through rate, I generally look at, are people interacting with their ad? Actually, that's exactly what it means. Are people interacting with their ad? So as long as it's above 4%, you're good. Anything higher, even better. Okay, click share and impression share metrics. These are deep deep stats. Like they're not. If you do the smart campaign, which is the one that generally comes with, by the way, oh god. So
we completely skipped that one.
when you create a Google Ads
We
account,
didn't put that in the last.
and let's say you're not aware about Google, like this is your first time trying it out, Google's gonna put you through like I don't want to be rude here. They're gonna put you through the sissy version, which is called the smart campaign. Basically, it's gonna be like 2 steps. What business are you in? What kind of keywords do you think are good? They're not even keywords, they're keyword themes. So it's like even more general.
like a bucket, yeah.
Yeah, exactly that. It's a bucket of keywords basically. And then you pick your budget and then it'll just do everything else. It's like two headlines and 2 descriptions. It's like you'll be done in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And yes, you'll be done in 5 minutes. But the problem with that is that it's kind of like shotgunning everything. It's like just you know, and if you spend enough money, if you wait long enough, you'll get leads from it. I'm not saying it doesn't work, but it's just not the most efficient. That's the smart campaign. My opinion, I've known one guy my entire career doing Google Ads. I've known one guy and I never even saw it. It's just what he says. I
know, right?
I can't vouch for it. He said that his business changed once he started doing smart campaigns, and it's been working wonderfully ever since. I've tried to recreate I test stuff all the time. It's never worked. Smart campaigns have never worked to that degree. So you'll have to switch to expert mode. You just click settings, expert mode. Are you sure you want to switch to expert mode? It'll let you do it. So once you are in expert mode, it gives you some default columns.
Is it still under smart campaign or is this back in the?
This is the regular. Well,
expert mode.
Expert mode is regular. Smart campaign is like you have 2 screens.
Nice.
There's not much else to do. And so it gives you the normal columns, which are, I guess, confusing in themselves. But what this means is click share means there's impression share, which means what percentage of impressions are you getting in your area for those keywords. So if you're getting less than 10% impression share, that means 90% of your impressions are being taken away due to either budget or other people outbidding you. And then the click share is the same thing. Let's say you have a 20% click share. That means out of 100 clicks that were available, that were clicked, you got 20% of them. So what that means again is it tells you that there's a lot of room for you to compete more. And the opposite way is if you have, this will never happen. Let's say you have 100% click share for your campaign. That means every single keyword in your area, you got every single click. That would never happen.
Yeah.
That would be like a monopoly.
Yeah.
If anybody's looking up auto detailer, it's you in that area. And so that's a metric that tells us like, okay, how much are we showing up and how much of the clicks are we getting versus are we just getting drowned out? When it's under 10% click share and impression share, it's like, okay, well, we're just not competing. We're just, we have to.
So this is kind of, this is a good one to see like just how you're doing against others.
Yeah. Like in that.
Like where are my ads being played or how competitive, so to speak, are my ads being placed?
And I'll give it not caveat, but a distinction between this is this mainly only works with exact match because you can actually say that you can pinpoint what keywords you want that be formulated. If you do broader match or phrase match, because there's so many variations within those keywords, it's not as, because let's say phrase match auto detailing, that's like 1 million keywords. Auto detailing jobs, auto detailing me, auto detailing in Houston, so on and so forth. So you really can't base it off of that. You have to base it off the exact match in case anybody actually goes and tries to. And
now to this far of extent of what we're talking about here, like if you're running your own ads, is this something that like for most part, like it's like if you're running it, like you should be aware of all this?
No. So the number one thing, if you put your credit card to Google Ads, no matter how it's set up, if the phone's ringing, who cares?
Yeah.
Actually, that's not true. Because at some point, if you're clever, you'll realize, okay, I know I'm spending $1,000 and getting 5 leads, but I know if I were to optimize it, I can get 15 leads at the same price.
Yeah.
So a lot of people come for us with that. Like, yeah, I know. I set it up and it's doing okay, but like, I don't know what I'm doing.
I
just, I get something from it.
So if you're trying to be legit with your campaign, like you'd want to go this deep with it.
There's a scale. Like, yes, it's providing results, but how much bang for your buck can you get?
Yeah, because then this goes to what we said at the beginning of like 2 people can both be spending $500 a month. But it's like if one goes all the way through with it and knows for the most part the whole back end of running ads and like really knows what they're looking at, we'll probably get better results and get more leads, meaning more customers and more money versus the person that's like, oh, it's up and running. It's good enough. Like
a smart campaign, one time one time,
Yeah. So there is like a viable difference there.
Yeah, there is. There for sure is.
Taken out of the way. Yeah.
So I would say for like the what you asked, like, do people need to know this?
Yeah, like if retailers were like, okay, I want to run ads, it's like, you think that, like, to the extent that you're talking is
it'd be nice, but it's a hard trade off between time and just living. Like it is a lot. It'd be nice, but the one metric I would go off with it is your phone ringing and our forms coming in. If that's happening, at least you're getting that.
Yeah.
If it's not happening, then you then have to dig deeper and find out why. And you can go through all the options, but then at some point, either it'll start working or it's just not it. Whether it's budget, location, services.
Okay.
Below that, proper follow up, which you talked about.
Okay, right.
A lead may come in, a phone call may come in. Just because you call them up or email them back and they don't reply, doesn't mean it's over. And so if you're the type of business that it's like, well, it's not working because they came in but they don't pick up when I call. Well, I mean, people aren't just sitting on their phone like, all right, can't wait for this person to call me back.
If you're waiting for that one and done deal, like, okay, called once, didn't book. Well, that's a lost person. Like, that's the bad way to look at things.
Even if they call you on the phone, like, hey, yeah, it's gonna be $500 for the service. Oh, okay, thank you. I'll reach out when I'm ready, or I'll call you back tomorrow or Tuesday. I mean, deal's not done. There's still something, either follow up or text or phone call, or email, whatever it is. Instagram, I don't know, however people do it.
Yeah.
There's a follow up, and there's an art to that. Like, you can't be overly aggressive.
Yeah.
You can't be too, like, if you do it like every 3 hours, like, hey, so are you ready to move forward?
Yeah.
Can't do that. You can't. There's finesse to it for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Where it's like, hey, just reaching out. If you're interested, please let me know. If not, all good. Have a good one.
Yeah, for sure.
It's nothing fancy, by the way.
No, not at all.
It's just
there has to be a system in place to really capitalize on those opportunities. Yeah, because those are just missed opportunities. Like, that's just money that you're not capitalized. That's going somewhere else because it's like you literally just again, like, just the one and done deal. Like, oh, they didn't close on the transaction right, and it's like, especially for us that we're moving into PPF, vinyl wrapping and such. It's like most people aren't going to be like, okay, $4,000, book it in. It's like, I don't think that it's going to be like they're going to come ask to see some colors. They're going to go over their vehicle. They're okay, I'll think about it. Like, it's a longer sales cycle now. Granted, like if you're selling like a $25 watch or something, like, that's, the sales cycle, like, probably less follow up, more like, okay, yeah, that's easy, right? Versus the higher you get in the price, the longer that process and system is going to take. So like with PPF and vinyl, I'm like, yeah, like it might take a week or so for people, like from initial contact to maybe they come in person to whatever, like probably a week before we book them in, right? So yeah, follow up. It's like that again. It has nothing to do with Google Ads, but it's like, bro, if you don't do that, like
in that same vein, that's the right word. I've seen this happen a lot, and I've experienced this myself, where like you need something, right? A local service, you Google it, you click the website, and then you go to the social media. Like, I do that, and I know other people do that, and I know it has nothing to do with Google Ads, but it acts as validation, as authority, as has this business done what I need done for someone else? People are just looking for, I use the damn Jordan Belfort guy. It's certainty and uncertainty.
Yeah.
The closer you can get them to, okay, this dude can, or this business can handle my problem, let me call him, versus like, what kind of job, filthy, place, dirty, I don't want to work with that, part of the neighborhood, like, I don't want to go over there, so on and so forth. So that matters. I don't know what was it?
No, but I forget, but to that point as well, of like, and that's why I've talked to you about it. I'm like, when I'm looking at other businesses and such, like if we're gonna go karting or whatever, and it's like I go to the website to read, and then I want to see the social media. Okay, like are they whatever, and then like, you haven't posted anything. Like, I want to see like how the cart looks, and then I look at my bit. I'm like, I don't post. I don't post either. Yeah. So that's why I started posting too. I was like, man, that's right, because like all the SEO, the ads is like, and then they're gonna click over, and I just want to make sure that they see us being active.
Silent. It's like silent. Yeah. It's silent. Not convincing. It's silent approval of like, okay, I'm just looking. The customer's looking for things to validate. Hey, is this dude gonna scam me out? Is this business gonna scam me? Do they know what they're doing? Am I gonna waste my money? All these questions. And why should they give anybody money?
And it's one of those things. It's a good point that you said silent, because like they do all that, whatever. Like maybe they get an email, like a quote from you, and then they read it. They're like, oh, there's Instagram. Let me just click on that, right? And then if you have like good content, entertaining, like they might be like, hey, like they might forward it to someone saying, "Hey,
It's crazy.
I might go there. What do you think?" Right? And it's like if it's good content, if it's good social media, good whatever. It's like unbeknownst to you that you know,
Yes.
and because that happens to me all the time.
Yeah.
Like I kid you, I would probably have gone to more places if they're social. And then I've told you several times now. I'm like, when I tell you that, and I'm like, bro, I need to start posting more on our page because I'm probably like, you know, so. That's very true on that
Yeah.
part. Yeah, that's very true on that part.
And then people will say like, well, you know, is it worth posting on organic social media? Like only I get like a couple likes and
Yeah,
very
but-
few people watch it. But it's like you don't do that when you're winning, when it's just happening for you. Like you do that so when people come,
Yeah,
they
yeah,
have
yeah,
something
yeah,
to look at.
yeah.
So it's like you set that up to work together. So do it. Like
Yeah.
they all work together, even though th're not in the same channel.
Yeah, and again, like crazy, but it's like I would say, like like post great content, and then if it goes totally wayside now of like, well, what's great content? It's like, well, you want to know how to, and it's like, was like, well, how to do those videos? It's like, well, and then boom, you're learning something else now. Like you know, obviously starting off like just photos, being active, like that's fair too. But it's like there's so many rabbit holes that you can go to like have a fully optimized like running business that gets leads, that gets, you know, it's just crazy that how much work that's involved in this.
And it goes back to the same thing, like if it helps, like as an overall strategy, like if that action helps you get customers, should you do it? I mean, if you want to grow your business and get leads from at least an online source, you don't have to do that. I got this guy, like that.
Yeah.
He only speaks Spanish. He's in Colorado. He does concrete flooring. No, concrete something like driveways and stuff. No Spanish. Consulted with him. Not sure what a website is. No Google profile.
Yeah.
All he has is a Facebook page and his phone number. All the posts that he puts is just his phone number. There's nothing else. So he
goodness.
doesn't get his customers from that, but he gets customers. Like,
Yeah.
to me, it just proves like there is no right or wrong way of doing it. There's many ways of getting customers. I would argue that anything digital or online is,
Yeah, far superior.
it's like what is
Yeah.
in, or like that's how the best, easiest, most efficient way of doing it. But when I see stuff like that, I'm like, look at this.
this guy's pulling it off. Yeah.
And
yeah.
I love stuff like that because like there's not an excuse, you know. There's a guy that told me, he's like, yeah, I got started. I just went door to door, knocking on people's doors. And
Yeah.
I closed over, you know, X amount of dollars. I'm like, I got people complaining. That,
Yeah,
people
yeah.
are calling them left and
Yeah,
right, and they
yeah.
don't want to. Anyways, that's a tangent.
Yeah.
Okay, and then lastly, demand for the keywords. Like, are people actually looking it up? Which kind of went back.
Yeah,
to the first point.
we've covered that point for
So-
sure. No, that was a good one. That was a jam filled one. Yeah, that is for sure. Like same thing with that I just mentioned about Instagram. Same thing that I mentioned that we're talking about here in this episode. It's like if you're gonna if you really want to capitalize, like for me, I would say like if it's ever your first marketing channel, SEO, Google ads, Facebook ads, Instagram ads, YouTube ads, whatever, it's like it does help to know it all, because from knowing it all and like understanding, oh, so I have to learn about copywriting. Let me learn a little about copywriting. If you want to put a ad creative of a video, okay, I have to learn a little bit about YouTube, right? Whether it's videos, whether it's shooting, editing, whatever. Then I'll, like all those things lend to the next step if you so choose to choose to go with another marketing channel. Meaning, like for me, my first thing was SEO, and then when I transferred over to like Google Ads or really anything else, like because I a great deal of the SEO was writing copy. It's like, oh, I could take that copy to email marketing now. Oh, I could take that copy over to writing captions for Instagram now. So like, and with each one of those, it's like, if you really want to learn how to do it and really capitalize, like for instance, like for me with YouTube, like the reason why I've been able to capitalize from YouTube to like Instagram, TikTok to creating shorts is because I fully went in on learning YouTube, right? On YouTube editing. And from learning that, it's like, oh, well, now, you know, I have like a strong foundation to jump over to the next video platform or video editing style. So it's like, if you have a full understanding and you capitalize on Google Ads, it's like that will transfer over to the next marketing channel that you decide to do. And that only happens if you go all the way. If you just run a smart campaign, you won't know nothing, and nothing carries over to SEO or Instagram ads or Facebook ads or whatever.
And it's actually wonderful because it's like, it wouldn't make sense if the less, you know, it makes sense that the more time you put in, the more effort you put in, the more you learn, the more you know, grow that foundation of what your knowledge base is, the more you benefit. But of course it takes long.
Yeah.
Because it's not going to happen. Smart campaigns aren't going to just anything. One post on social media is not going to do anything.
Yeah.
And so I think it makes sense. If it was reverse, that'd be weird.
Yeah.
You know, it would make
Yeah,
sense.
yeah. Okay, that's good. All right, we'll wrap it right here. Thank you very much. Hopefully you guys learned and didn't get too bored with the more nerdy stuff. We'll talk to you on the next one. Bye-bye. And that's going to wrap it up. Hopefully you learned something. Like I said, it is a lot more information that we typically do, but hopefully this steers you in the right direction. If you want to book a call with me, click the link down below and then we'll chat about if we're a good fit to work with each other.